The mystery of the abandoned island. In the heart of the vast ocean, there lay an island, long forgotten by the world. It was said to be cursed by the spirits of the sea, and all those who dared to venture close were never seen again. The island was shrouded in mystery and darkness, with secrets that lay buried deep within its heart. One summer's day, a group of adventurous souls set sail towards the island, eager to uncover its secrets and break the curse. Among them was a young woman named Arya, who had always been drawn to the unknown, to the magic that lay just beyond the horizon. She had heard stories of the island all her life, and her curiosity had only grown with time. As they neared the island, a thick fog descended upon them, obscuring their vision and sending shivers down their spines. Arya's heart was beating fast with excitement and fear, for she knew that they were about to step foot on the island that had been forbidden for centuries. The island was unlike anything they had ever seen before. The trees were twisted and gnarled, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers towards the sky. The ground was littered with bones and debris, remnants of those who had come before them. And yet, there was a strange beauty to the island, a wildness that was untamed and unapologetic. As they explored the island, they found strange markings etched into the trees and rocks, symbols that they could not decipher. They also discovered an abandoned village, with houses that were still standing despite the passage of time. But there was no sign of life on the island, only an eerie silence that filled the air. It was as they were exploring the village that they heard a sound, a faint whisper that seemed to be coming from deep within the earth. They followed the sound, their hearts pounding with excitement and fear, until they came upon a hidden cave, its entrance concealed by vines and foliage. As they stepped inside the cave, they were met with a sight that took their breath away. There, in the center of the cave, was a glowing crystal, its light pulsating with a hypnotic rhythm. Arya was drawn towards the crystal, feeling its warmth and energy flow through her veins. It was then that they heard a voice that seemed to be coming from within the crystal. The voice spoke of a curse that had befallen the island, a curse that had been brought upon it by the greed and arrogance of men. The voice spoke of a way to break the curse, a way that could only be found by those who were pure of heart and brave of spirit. Arya knew that she had to be the one to break the curse. She had always felt a deep connection to the world around her, and she knew that the magic of the island was calling out to her. She took the crystal in her hands, feeling its power surge through her body. And then, with a burst of light and energy, the curse was broken. The island was transformed before their very eyes. The twisted trees straightened and the bones disappeared. The air was filled with the sound of birds and the scent of flowers. And in the center of the island, there was a tree unlike any other, its branches reaching towards the sky in a triumphant display of life. As they sailed away from the island, Arya knew that she had been forever changed by her experience. She had discovered a part of herself that she had never known existed, a part that was connected to the earth and the magic that lay within it. And she knew that she would never forget the mystery of the abandoned island and the power that lay within. The old man's story lingered in their minds like a heavy fog as they rowed towards the abandoned island. As they got closer, they could see that the island was overgrown with vines and trees, and the sand was littered with debris and driftwood. They made their way through the thick jungle, feeling as if they were being watched from every angle. The vines seemed to grab at their feet, as if trying to keep them from venturing deeper into the island. As they pushed through the foliage, they stumbled upon an old, dilapidated hut. The door was ajar, and they could see that the inside was just as decrepit as the exterior. The air inside was stale, and they could feel a musty dampness that seemed to permeate everything. The group split up, searching for any clues or signs of life on the island. As they walked, they could hear the sound of waves crashing against the shore, but they also heard something else. It was a faint humming noise that seemed to come from deep within the island. Curiosity getting the better of them, they followed the sound until they came upon an old, rusted metal door. It was slightly ajar, and they could see a faint glow coming from inside. As they pushed open the door, they were met with a dazzling sight. Before them was a cavern, the walls of which glowed with a pulsing rainbow light. The source of the humming was a cluster of glowing crystals in the center of the cavern. The group was mesmerized by the beauty of the sight before them, and they felt drawn towards the crystals. As they approached, the humming grew louder, and they felt a strange energy coursing through their bodies. Suddenly, the crystals erupted in a blinding burst of light, and the group was thrown back by a powerful force. When they came to, they found themselves back on the beach, surrounded by the wreckage of their boat. Days passed, and the group could not shake the feeling of unease that had settled over them since their trip to the abandoned island. They tried to forget about the glowing crystals, but it seemed that they had left an indelible mark on their souls. Eventually, they heard news that a group of adventurers had made their way to the island and discovered the same glowing crystals. However, the adventurers had not been as lucky as they had, and none of them had returned. The group realized that they had stumbled upon something much larger than they could have ever imagined, and that the mystery of the abandoned island would remain just that, a mystery. The sun was beginning to set, and the sky was painted in hues of orange and pink. The group of friends stood at the edge of the island, gazing out at the vast ocean, wondering what other secrets it held. As they turned to leave, they heard a faint whisper, like a soft breeze rustling through the leaves. Curiosity getting the better of them, they followed the sound until they reached a dense part of the forest. There, they saw a figure standing behind a tree, partially obscured by the shadows. The figure beckoned them forward, and despite their initial hesitation, they stepped closer. As they drew near, the figure revealed itself to be an old man, dressed in tattered clothing and sporting a long, white beard. He introduced himself as the keeper of the island, tasked with protecting it from those who sought to harm it. He told them of the island's tragic history, of how it was once a place of great beauty and prosperity until it fell under a terrible curse. The group listened with bated breath as the old man spoke, and they could feel a sense of sadness and despair emanating from him. He spoke of the darkness that lurked on the island, and how it was slowly consuming everything in its path. He warned them to leave the island before it was too late, but the group was determined to uncover the truth behind the mystery. As they delved deeper into the island, they encountered strange occurrences and inexplicable phenomena. They saw strange symbols etched into trees, heard voices whispering in the wind, and felt a cold presence lurking just beyond the shadows. Despite their fear, they pressed on, their curiosity driving them forward. One day, they came across an old, abandoned mansion, hidden deep within the forest. It was the only structure they had seen on the island, and it was clear that no one had lived there in many years. The mansion was dark and foreboding, with creaking floorboards and cobweb-covered walls. As they explored the mansion, they began to uncover the truth behind the island's curse. They discovered that the mansion had once been the home of a powerful sorcerer, who had dabbled in dark magic and had grown increasingly obsessed with power. He had unleashed a terrible curse upon the island, and it had been slowly consuming everything in its path. The group realized that they were in great danger, and they needed to leave the island as soon as possible. But just as they were about to leave, they were confronted by the sorcerer himself, who had somehow managed to survive all these years. He was a twisted, shadowy figure, consumed by his thirst for power and control. He taunted them, telling them that they would never leave the island alive. The group was terrified, but they refused to give up. They knew that they had to face the sorcerer if they wanted to break the curse and save the island. With the help of the talking tree, they were able to defeat the sorcerer and break the curse. As they sailed away from the island, they looked back at it one last time, now glowing with a radiant light. They knew that they had saved the island, and that they would always carry a piece of it within their hearts. The talking tree had taught them that even in the darkest of places, hope and love could still thrive, and that there was always a way to find light in the midst of darkness.